Hey Jerry, how are you?
Very good. You're my last one, I think. Anyway.
Okay, yeah. We just, I think you must be talking a bit today. You're running a bit behind, which is good.
Yeah. You want to know what? Yeah. I worked all day. I was up at the crack of dawn. It's funny, in my room I don't have any shades on the blinds, so when the sun comes up it hits me in the face.
Oh wow.
So I'm up. So, I worked out for a little while. I worked in the machine shop for about eight hours. The guys came, I rehearsed for 2 or 3 hours, and now I'm winding down. So it's actually nice to be able to chat instead of running around with like a chicken with my hat off. So it's all good.
That's cool. It's always good to talk to you, and it's always great to see you come back to see us so often.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. We were there for about that time, about January, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to be able to get on some of them big things like the big day out and stuff like that. But it seems we come in and grind it up down the middle. So but it is what it is. I like it. I really enjoy our show.
Yeah, and each time you come, you bring us something different as well. So this tour is pretty exciting, I think, for a lot of us over here. You're bringing not just Static Age, but another very cool album. In fact, the first Misfits album I heard, actually, Earth A.D. as well. Tell us about why you.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, tell us about why you're revisiting those two albums now.
Well, we are approaching our 40th anniversary. Basically, April 2017 is 40 years. And my son has been working with us for the last 10 years. He went to sound engineering school. He worked on recording the Devil's Rain album with Ed Stasium. He was our stage manager, our tour manager, our front of house guy. I kind of drove the kid right to the point where he was ready to break. And, actually we walked off a Motorhead tour because they were like treating him like shit. I said, yeah, fuck these guys, we're out of here. And so what happened was that, he came and started playing guitar with us about a year ago. Yeah. And we had two guitars. We had my son and Dez, and then Dez came down, he's got throat cancer and he's going through treatment. So Dez had to step out of the band, and my son is now the guitar player of the band. So what happened was that we got an offer in California to play 3 shows, and they wanted us to showcase Static Age, Walk Among Us the second night, and then the last night Earth A.D. And I wanted to do that anyway. I wanted to bring him into the band, and when I brought him into the band, I wanted him to go through our footsteps of how we started the band with what songs, learn all the songs, see how the band progressed into Earth A.D. And Earth A.D. was the album that actually exploded the band. I mean, there was no place for the band to go. So it took many years in litigation, and then we came back. And when we came back, that's when we did the Geffen record. We did American Psycho. Yeah. We did Famous Monsters, and then we did the Devil's Rain, which he is now part of. So I told him, I said, look, the most important thing is that you go through the evolution of what made us here. So we decided to run the campaign. I said, look, let's showcase the Static Age album. Let's get out there every night and we'll kick it around, and you'll know exactly where you came from. So now when we start working on the new album, which we've already started, you won't feel like you're a latecomer to the project. You'll feel like you lived it, and I think that's the most important thing, is that you feel at one with the universe. You feel there's nothing you don't know. Everything that has occurred, you're now aware of, and obviously he won't have the experiences of playing the shows or the fucking crazy shit that happens, but he will have the experience of playing those songs, knowing those songs, working through them, and adding them into an arsenal. Because I think that's the one thing that I really think a band should be. A band should be able to play anything that they've done at any given moment. I think you need to be that ready. I think you need to be that focused in your game, and that's what we do. For those 3 shows, we rehearsed 4 days a week, doing about 50 songs at a rehearsal. So I mean, we would play 200 songs a week. Not all different, obviously, but we really worked it out. And we went out and did those shows over the summer. We put together an all-girl band. I wrote a bunch of songs for them, and they sound great. Called the She Demons. They're going to be amazing. I told the girls, I said, "Look, girls, I hope you guys play stadiums and you let us open for you." Really wanted to. So my son recorded them, and that kind of took us off track a little bit. But we're back on track now. We were rehearsing today, and we're sounding good. We really didn't lose any ground. Because I'm the kind of guy that feels like if I do get up in the morning and I do run through a song, it's like my hand or my arm. It's like part of me, and we're there, and we're starting to work on the new album, and it's coming along really well. I think that's really why. I think that's why we really needed to start with Static Age and roll it out this time. And I thought it would also catch a lot of people's attention.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, a lot of people are very excited about it. And, maybe we'll do Walk Among Us in the middle. Maybe we'll do all three.
Great. I mean, I was actually going to ask you that question, if there was a chance of that, because, that would be cool.
Yeah, well, we did it. We did it on the last night, and we had a show in San Diego after we were up in L.A. doing the 3 shows. There was a 4th show, and we did all 3 in a row. It's a little bit of a grind, the thing is, I don't want people to turn around and say, they're playing all the old stuff, they're going to do shit stuff. That's not the case. The case is that we're basically setting our sights on a brand new album, and this is the way I think it should be handled.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy album. I mean, so important in the annals of punk. 17 songs, 35 minutes, recorded in '78, but we didn't, I guess, really get to hear the whole thing till the '90s. Can you take us back?
I know.
Can you take us back to what it was like at the time? For you guys in '78?
I will. Okay, what happened was I was a senior in high school, and I decided not to play basketball that year because basketball comes in right around Thanksgiving time for us, which is near the end of November. Basketball starts in the winter and ends in like February or March, and I had played sports all through high school, mostly football and basketball, a little bit of baseball. And what happened was that I wasn't about it. I was a senior in high school. I was driving. I had my license. I had already aced the high school. I only had a couple of classes, so I had half the day not to do anything. And I really wanted to learn how to, I really wanted to write music was really what it was about. And I didn't want to learn anybody else's stuff. So in February, I got my guitar and I started learning. And in April, I joined the Misfits. And the following January, we cut Static Age album. So during that time, I graduated high school. And I was hanging out with Glenn, and we were going to New York to see bands and hanging out. And I kind of got a feel for the scene. And, at first I was very unfamiliar with the whole, punk scene and all that kind of stuff. But Glenn was. He was familiar with it. So we got to see bands like The Damned, The Clash, The Jam. Who else did we see? Oh, God, The Dead Boys. Everything was just CBGBs, and then it moved over to Max's. But during that summer, I had realized that Glenn was playing keyboards at the time when we started the band. And I realized we had to get rid of the fucking keyboard and get a guitar player. So I knew a guy who I played basketball with. He was a year older than me. And his name was Frank Coma. And Frank Licata, he played guitar, but he didn't know any stuff. He knew how to play some chords. He was kind of fucking around trying to learn other people's songs. And I took lessons, and I started to learn other people's songs, and I realized immediately I don't want to know anybody else's songs. I really don't care about that. So what happened was I went to Frank, and I go, Frank, look, we're starting this band, and it's all original. He goes, well, I really don't know how to play. I said, look, that's why I picked you, right? Because you don't know what you're doing, and we can figure this out together. So Frank played guitar on Static Age, and funny, like the leads on Earth on 138, they're one-note leads.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like Carly's like ding 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 ding. They don't play anything. It doesn't really fucking matter what you play as long as you're playing something that sounds cool. And we put the album together in my garage, and it was funny because it all fell into place. Glenn would come down with an idea, and I would take it and arrange it and write parts for it and get it all going, get it together, and then Frank would, I teach it to Frank, and we recorded it in that January. So it was funny because I hadn't heard it in 18 years. Frank had a cassette, one from the studio. Back then, there were no CDs; there were cassettes. So Frank had a cassette, and when he came back from the studio, he put it in the safe deposit box and never played it. Okay, he saved it. So when we settled our lawsuit with Glenn, Caroline Records said, "Well," I said, "Look," I said, "if you're going to start putting out Misfits stuff for real now, not under Glenn's supervision, but with the band involved, without any bias." I said, you got to start with Static Age. I said, A, it was never released. B, it was our first record. And C, it's fucking great. You know what I mean? So they said, okay, well, let's get it from Glenn. And Glenn told them, I don't know where the tapes went. So I called him back and I said, you know what? I got one for you. And it's all mixed ready to go. And they handed them a cassette. And they were like, what the fuck is this? I said, well, there's your album. And the Static Age album was released off a cassette. That was recorded in 1978. And when I listened to it, I realized the genius behind it. And I said, oh, my God, because we took it to Sire Records, who had the Ramones, and Richard Hell. Yeah. And they said, nah, we don't want to put it out. And we brought it to Chrysalis Records, who had Billy Idol, and they had Blondie. Yeah. And they said, nah, it's not our cup of tea. And then we brought it to Red Star Records, Marty Thau. I forgot who he said. He tried to change Bullet. He wanted us to play Bullet like bump, 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 bump. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, you ain't changing shit, buddy. You put out this record just the way you fucking made it, or you ain't putting it out. So he said, nah, I ain't putting it out either. And the funny thing was, when I listened to it, I was like, this is fucking brilliant. I said, this would have probably changed everything back then. We had to wait till Earth A.D. to change everything else. That's what wound up happening. Static Age got locked in a safe deposit box for 18 years. Walk Among Us came out on Flash Records. Flash Records had, at the time, who was the other band? Fear. Okay, Fear was the band. It was us and Fear. So what happened was, Fear was on Saturday Night Live at the time when they first came out. So Flash Records would send our records to record stores, a box of Misfits and a box of Fears records. And the record stores would put the Fears records on the shelf and then send ours back for credit, so they didn't have to pay for Fears records right now. So the Walk Among Us album got ditched too. Okay? And then when Earth A.D. came out, luckily Cliff Burton knew about us. I know that Pepper and those guys, and Phil and Samo and those guys, they knew about us. They, all these other bands, Guns N' Roses, Duff knew about us. Yeah. So what happened was that when Earth A.D. came out, all of a sudden, all the bands that knew we were there got that record, and it changed everything. Then you had Slayer and Anthrax and Megadeth and Metallica, and all these bands came out of this one thing. They just looked at it and said, wow, this is, the future. And it was the future. And Earth A.D. is still ahead of its time. I think maybe another 10 years people will probably catch up to it, but maybe not.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. The thing is we did it, and it was good. But it blew our band apart. I mean, it was just too far ahead of its time. It was like, going through the time tunnel. It tore us apart. Glenn went to do Sam Hain and later to do Danzig. I went back to work and, put the band back together, 13 years later. Yeah. And came up with the new band, which I'm really happy with. I think that the American Psycho album and the Famous Monsters album, and Devil's Reign is really like my favorite one. I think that the band has really, come into its own. And I think that, under the circumstances, and especially with the way the world operates today with the internet, I think that having our own label and releasing our own stuff and being able to change things, if I want to change a mix on a record, I just change a mix on a record. I don't have to ask anybody's permission. I don't have to deal with record companies. I don't have to deal with that crap. So, I think the Misfits, believe it or not, has a brighter future than it does a past, in my opinion. I think we can reinvent the band and once again change the direction of things. So, it's hard to conceive based on how many times things change directions in this business.
Yeah.
But I really do. I think that our best years are ahead of us.
I mean, and it was amazing for me to actually go back and listen to those two albums again, and I personally was just blown away by. I mean, you can see it, you can hear it, and it's such an interesting story about the tape to hear that's how it was discovered. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Are we still okay, Jerry? Because your management were very strict on it.
You're my last one. So do whatever you want to.
Great. I mean, one of the questions I personally had for you was about the Earth A.D. If you were going to play, because when it was re-released, it had the Die Die My Darling EP on there as well.
Yeah, we do that. We do that.
So you add that to the live set as well.
Yeah, well, usually we'll end with Die Die My Darling. Usually the last couple of songs we'll do is I like ending with Halloween. Die Die My Darling's in there, Descending Angel. What I'll do is a lot of times I'll do Devil's Rain leading into it, so it's kind of like an encore. We can walk off, we'll end with something like 138. But if we're going to play the album in order, 138 is in the middle of the Static Age album, so I can't do it twice. Yeah. But I like ending the set with 138 because everybody gets it. Yeah. I mean, if you can't understand, we are 138, then, what the fuck you doing here? You know what I mean? So everybody kind of gets it. And you end with 138, and everybody's all pumped. And then you go back, and you wipe your hands, and you wipe your face, and you tune your guitar, and then they hear the thunderstorm, and then we'll come out the Devil's Rain. And then, the last couple of kicking songs, normally I'll do Descending Angel, because everybody likes that. That's actually like my favorite song, I think. I wrote that for my dad when he was sick. And, but then Die Die My Darling's always in there, and Last Caress, but now we're doing a Static Age album, so Last Caress is the fourth song. You know what I mean? So basically, by doing the albums, I kind of restrict myself to put them in an order that I know they bring out the best in you. You know what I mean? I know how to release the beast, and it's not in the order of the album. You know what I mean? There's a certain formula of putting one song in front of the other, and just bringing it into a frenzy. But Mommy was one of those songs too that has a lot of can do that for you. Maybe we'll do all three albums each night. I mean, that might be fun. But, like I say, people will criticize me. People will turn around and go, playing all the old stuff, he's leaning on that shit. But, it's a learning experience for the band that's going to be putting out the next record. I mean, I think, people won't understand that. And I really don't expect people to understand the way I'm thinking.
No, I mean,
I'm kind of happy they don't. Otherwise, everybody would be doing what I'm doing.
I personally, I personally love the fact that we get something different every time. How are you feeling about singing those songs?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about singing those songs that obviously Glenn sung on back in the day?
Well, I got to be careful when I hit the high notes in Angel Fuck because I got to set up right. For me, look, I was there when they were written. So the thing is, I know them. I don't have to think about them. They're there. They're in my hard drive. Like Theme for a Jackal. When we wrote Theme for a Jackal, Glenn came down and he goes, I got this poem. He says, I want to try and put it to music. I said, well, let me take a look at it. And I looked and I was like, okay, because the lyrics are a little bit profound. I said, all right. I said, well, what key you want? And he said, C. So I said, okay, you ready? And I just start playing the riff. Bum, 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 bum. And it's the same riff for the whole song. But we wrote that together. We wrote it in like 1 minute. And, he just started doing the lyrics on the top of it. And, I was there. So I know them. So, a lot of people would say, man, there's so many fucking words. Because Joey Ramone said that to me. We were playing in New York on Halloween. And I told Joey, I said, Joey, we should really do Pet Sematary, because that's like really the only spooky Ramone song you guys got. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I mean, there is Go Down in the Basement, there's that song or whatever, Chainsaw Massacre. But to me, Pet Sematary is the right song for the Misfits to cover if we were going to cover a Ramones song. So I said, Joey, I said, let's do Pet Sematary. He goes to me, he goes, oh, no, too many words. I was like, okay. But singing the songs is great. There's a couple of hard spots here and there. Some of them sometimes, but I tell you what, I find that when you sing, you got to relax. If you tense up, you have a problem. So you just got to not even think about going, hitting high notes. But in the Misfits stuff, there's not many high notes. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I mean, that's why I think a lot of people and a lot of bands are able to cover it and get away with it, because you really don't need vocal range. I mean, Glenn was good. He had a crooning kind of voice. Yeah. But, there's really, in the whole album, there's one or two high notes, maybe. I look at it as a, what do I want to say? I look at it as a day at work. I go out there and I try to sing the song as best I can. And, I don't think of the formalities behind it. I don't think of the drama.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with me. My job is to execute the performance. You know what I mean? If I go out there and hit every note, I'm the happiest guy in the world. You know what I mean? Some of the newer stuff has got some high stuff in it, but the old stuff is all pretty.
Yeah. That's how it should be. I mean, after all the drama last year as well, I guess. I mean, it's just a distraction from the music, which is the main thing, I guess, for all those fans out there.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if you could have a clear head when you're working on something? You know what I mean? The problem with the music business is the business. That's the problem with it. You know what I mean? That's the part I don't like.
Yeah, that's the hard bit. One of the questions we didn't get to ask you last time was about mainly because I've only just read it myself, but the book "This Music Leaves Stains" that came out, I think, end of 2013. Did he get a chance to have a read of that? What are your thoughts?
It's all bullshit. You know what happened? The guy who wrote that on other people's what other people had to say.
Yeah.
So what happened was his father's the book publisher, and they both sat down and said, "Oh, who can we write a book about that doesn't have anything written about them?"
Yeah.
And they came up with that crock of shit. You know what I mean? Hey, look, fuck them. The more people talk crap, the funnier it gets. I don't really.
That's right.
Look, I know what I'm doing. And that's all that matters. As long as I know what I'm doing, we're going to steer the ship around the glaciers. You know what I mean? We're fine.
That's cool.
And they can, and anybody can say what they want. Anybody that doesn't like what I do can not fucking pay attention. You know what I mean? People that stand there and trash talk is people that got nothing better to do with their lives, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
If you got nothing better to do than rag on me, and I don't even know you,
yeah.
then go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's simple. Everybody's got an opinion. That's the problem with the internet. It's like I always said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. So it's So what the hell are you gonna do? If I made everybody happy, I'd be doing something wrong.
So I guess we should leave then, talking about the new album. I mean, we had a bit of a chat about the possibility of new material last time we spoke, but when are we going to see the new baby?
Well, we have. What happened was last year, I came up with this concept. I'll tell you how it happened. I was in England. And we were just finished the tour, and we had once again, just like traveling in Australia, we're 3 in the fucking morning, and we got to leave at 5 a.m. to go to the airport, so there's no sense in trying to lay down. So I'm just standing there pacing around the room, because, we just played and I'm all pumped up. And my tour manager, King Tut, he goes, "Hey, did you see the new diva from England that's on WWE?" And I was like, no, I haven't. So he's joking, and her name was Paige. I don't know if it's familiar. Yeah. But anyway, I looked at her and said, "Man, she looks like just like a vampire, you know. And I was like, and I came up with this concept of writing this song called Vampire Girl, and doing this thing. So one thing led to another, and I came up with this logo, and it wound up becoming the She Demon. So I put together this all-girl band. I started last July, not this July that just passed, but July before, writing songs. So I wrote about between 10 and 13 songs for the girls, and I went out and handpicked these girls to be the She Demon. And they're fucking amazing. Wait till you check them out. So, you know, the thing was that I kind of got tied up in that, but I did write a song called Zombie Girl, and I did write a song called Vampire Girl, and it was based on this project that I was working on, because I was thinking of putting together a clothing line that the girls, horror girls could evolve through. Yeah. Not so much, I guess goth girls. I guess you could say goth. But, you know, I was thinking, because I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I have my elder daughter, 33, and I got a granddaughter who's 2. So I was thinking along the lines of, marketing something that the girls could be involved with. And I started thinking about it, and I said, well, we got a store called Hot Topic. I don't know if you guys got that down there, but it's a chain store of, punk, hardcore, and all kinds of stuff. And it's in all the malls.
I love it. I go going there every time I'm in the US, yeah. We don't have them down here.
Okay, well, we there's 600 of them here. So, what I was thinking was, I said, well, I tell you what, zombies are really big right now. Walking Dead is the biggest show on TV. Okay, I'm tight with George Romero. I'm tight with Tom Savini. I know all these people. So, for me to come up with some kind of a zombie concept is not unheard of. Okay, obviously. So I said, what if the girls started like at age 10 to 12, 13, they were zombie girls, and we come up with something that's very, not military looking, but very uniform looking. I got this Z in a circle, like, World War Z or whatever it was with Brad Pitt. Okay, and zombie girls would be girls that had an internet site so they could all chat and they could talk about things, and they would all buy different outfits. And then the next transformation is when they get a little older and they're going out on dates in high school and stuff like that. They would turn into like these vampire girls, which would be handbags and dressy outfits and stuff like that, a little high-endier stuff. And then the She Demon thing would be lingerie that I wanted to try and pitch Victoria's Secret on, carrying every Halloween, the She Demon one. But then I wrote these songs, and the songs are fucking great. It's like the Ronettes meet the Ramones. And then I came up with the band, so like the whole clothing line went out the window. But I had all these songs. Now, the She Demons cover She Demon, which is the name of it, like the title, their, what do I want to say, their namesake track. And then Zombie Girl and Vampire Girl, I wrote the songs and we recorded them. So we got a single coming out this fall, which is Zombie Girl and Vampire Girl, which they're really cool. Wait till you check them out. The songs are really cool. And then we started working on the album. I got about maybe 7 different ideas right now that are in the process of working. One song's called Lord of the Flies. I got some other ideas. I got the title track, I think. But we're piecing it together, And I think that the most important thing is that you wait until you got really great material before you put out your record. I don't think that you got maybe 3 or 4 good songs and then you write a bunch of bullshit, and then you got, I got 15 songs on a record, but only 6 of them are good. What the hell is that? We've never done that. Every album we do, every song is fucking great. So, why start fucking up now? And so what happens is that I'm hoping to have about 5 songs written, completed, before, not recorded, but written, and, the parts, we know the parts, by the time the tour in October starts. And then when we come back from you guys, I'm hoping to sit down and maybe January and February, hang out the rest of the tracks and start recording. And next August, we're doing a festival in Romania, in Transylvania, in front of Dracula's castle. And I'm hoping to have our album ready to be released at Dracula's castle. Wow. In August of next year. So that's my goal right now. I didn't have any really cool idea for a release date. And then today, they called up and said, hey, the Romanians want you to headline a festival at Dracula's castle in Transylvania. I said, well, they There you go. Boom. You know, I now have a deadline to have my new album ready, and that leads right into our 40th anniversary. So I think to me, it's a perfect launch. You know, well, look, you know, you wait long enough, good things come. You know, and so that's just it. I'm really happy with the new title track. It's kind of like The Devil's Reign, you know, because I found out that when you come out on stage, you're jumpy, and the worst thing to do is have to sing something hard that. When you're jumpy, because you start to force it out and you blow your voice out right at the beginning of the show, and that's the last thing you want to do. The last thing you want to do is come out and get knocked out. You know what I mean? If you're a fighter, you don't want to come rolling into the middle of the ring and some dude hit you square in the face and knock you the fuck out. Why did you do all your training? Why did you come up with all your concepts and all your shit, and then you can't deliver because you know you're excited? I mean, it's natural to be excited. So you know, when we came out with The Devil's Reign. It's beautiful because the song is like, you know, nice and easy and low pitched, and it, you know, you're playing. It's kind of throbbing. It's kind of got a grind to it, and you know, the concept is, you know, we come out in the middle of a thunderstorm. So I mean, that was cool. This new one I got is kind of even cooler. So I just got to figure out how to, you know, what I'm going to do as a stage show to open the, you know, the next album that we do. But I really like this song, and I think that I don't want to give it away, but I think that the concept of the title track lends itself to so many different images for the band. You know, it's endless. It's like, you know, space-time continuum. It just, you know, so many different things that we can roll off of this. And then, you know, like I say, it's just a matter of coming up with the hits. I mean, coming up with the songs with the hook, something that, you know, you had never heard before, but you come to the show, you see it, and then you're home, you know, humming it to yourself in the shower, like in one shot. I mean, that's really the impact that I'm trying to make with our new music, is that you don't really need to listen to it 100 times to get it. You listen to it, you get it, and then after that, it doesn't get old. Yeah. And I think that, you know, that's pretty much what we've done. I think, because you're familiar with the Geffen album, right? American Psycho.
Yeah,
and
great album. Yeah.
Famous Monsters. Like you got on Psycho, you got American Psycho, which is a great song. And you got Dig Up Her Bone, which is, you know, probably the other thing. And then on Famous Monsters, you got Saturday Night, and you got Descending Angel. I mean, two kind of ballady songs, but they're great. Forbidden Zone opens that one. We used to start with Kong at the Gates, which actually was our wrestling intro. We used to use that when we would come out wrestling for the WCW. You know, Kong at the Gates was our intro song. So, you know, the thing is, you want that first song to be so intense, but at the same time, so easy to pull off. I'll give you an example. You know who The Rock is, right?
Yeah.
The wrestler?
Yeah.
Okay. The Rock is one of the Samoans. He's in the family of Samoans that come out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. So when The Rock was going to start wrestling, they told The Rock, they said, look, we want you to have a finishing move that you can do even when you're hurt. Okay, you don't want some kind of big fancy fucking move that if your leg is broken or your arm is twisted or you pulled you blew your rotor cuff or whatever the rotator cuff, whatever the deal is, you can't do it anymore. So they came up with the people's elbow. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he pulls his armband down over his elbow and he just, you know, hits somebody with his elbow. And that was the move. And the reason for that was that no matter what fucking situation he was in, he could always do his finishing move. Even when he broke his leg and he was on crutches, he took Vince McMahon and hit him and threw him on the ground and hit him with the people's elbow. You know what I mean? Even with a broken leg, the guy can still function. So that was the whole point of coming up with something like The Devil's Reign as an opening track. And I think I've done that with the same thing, where you come out now and you got something, you know you can totally do it no matter how fucked up your voice is. If your voice is blown, you're going to come out there with confidence and you're going to be able to pull off your first song. And after that, all the jitters are out of the game. Now you're not jumpy anymore. Now you can focus. You gotta lay back on your voice when you're shot. You know, you can. But you know, you always get jumpy in the beginning. It's just a natural reaction. If you're not jumpy, you really don't give a shit. So I mean, you know, we give a shit. So
that's great. It's a great story. It's always fantastic to speak to you, Jerry. I always learn something new, and to speak to someone who's clearly so passionate about the music. It always inspires me, and I just can't wait to see you guys in December. Thank you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I think you're going to be real impressed with my son. Hopefully, the next time we come, we can step it up into a little bigger venues, and we'll talk to promoters into bringing the girls. Because I think you're going to really like the Cheeky Center.
That's great.
You know, they're you're going to like it. I mean, you know, it's Run Us Meet the Ramones. It's like, you know, Joan Jett with you know, surrounded by some really talented people. You know, it's going to be good.
And we'll see.
They're really talented. You know, and the one guitar player, the blonde, oh my God, you know, she's just going to be 21, and she's like a prodigy. She knows everything. You know, oh, that's a minor triad. We're tuning the drums, right? And we're tuning the drums, and I tune the drums by ear. You know, I know what I want to hear, and I'm saying boom, boom, and I told her, I said, Constance, you know, what have we got going here? She goes, oh, that's a minor triad in B. Or I actually wrote it down. I was like, you're kidding me. She goes, no, that's you know, that's those are the notes, and you know that's, and she just listens to it. And amazing lead player. She writes some music for this show on TV called Glee. You know, so yeah, I mean, you know, some people just got the gift. You know what I mean? I got to work for it. You know, I gotta pay attention. You know, some people, you know, they just got it, and you know, I'm happy to work. So I'm real excited about that project. You know, I took a year out of my life to really put it on the map, and you know, I'm hoping they're going to play. They're going to headline big stadiums. And I got an opening slot. So look, you just got to remember me when you guys are playing somewhere big. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's really great talking to you too.
Oh,
I hope I don't chew your ear off.
No, it's always great. I mean, I could talk to you all day, but we'll see you at the final date in Perth. So hopefully that'll be a great closing to the tour.
Yeah, I heard we got a better venue. The other venue was like a really little pipe place. Not that I didn't appreciate it, because you know, I always want to remain humble and say, look, you know, thank God, you know, I'm able to go and play it. But you know, I just told them, I said, hey, look, you know, Perth is a long way, and you know, it's always a grind on the last day. And, you know, you guys kind of got us in a spot where, you know, if I take a step to the left, I'm going to fall off the stage. You know, let's see if we can do something a little better. Because you know, at first, you know, we threatened to pull it. I mean, I don't want to hurt your feelings. They're like, look, you know, we can't be doing this gig every time. Come on. So I think they got us in a better place. How's the venue, by the way?
The Rosemont, yeah, it's a better sounding room, bigger room, nice and easy to get to. Decent dressing rooms. Stage is a bit bigger. It's not hugely bigger, but the light show and everything's a lot better, and the sound's a lot better. It's and it always.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. You know, last time we were there, we had the Sea Shepherds were there. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. You know, and I support. And yeah, look, I'm hoping to do a better show for you guys based on, you know, the tools that I'm given. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Can't wait.
Thank you, brother. God bless, man.
You too, man. Thanks, Jerry. Cheers.